I knew it. This is an alien, and you guys are from some government agency trying to keep it under wraps.
I can't take it anymore!
You've got troubles, Mac.
Did you know that the first Matrix was designed to be a perfect human world where none suffered, where everyone would be happy? And it was a disaster. No one would accept the program. Entire crops were lost. Some believed that we lacked the programming language to describe your perfect world, but I believe that as a species, human beings define their reality through misery and suffering. So the perfect world was a dream that your primitive cerebrum kept trying to wake up from. Which is why the Matrix was redesigned to this, the peak of your civilization.
So this is how liberty dies, with thunderous applause.
Sharing the truth one fact at a time. This is the Free America Radio Network.
Right here on the Free America Radio Network on the 4th of June, 2014. How are ya? Are you good? Are you smiling? Did you wake up? Did you... Are you doing something? It's always a good thing. It's always a good thing to be doing something, because if you were doing nothing, then you'd be a sloth. Okay, just laying there. Yeah, I'll get to it. Yeah. Anyway. What a day. It's always good to take a little 5 or 10 minute power nap before the show and grab a cup of coffee. We're good, man. We're good because patriots are waking up. Patriots are waking up, but the unfortunate part is there's a whole lot of people who, let's just say, I can see through them like a freaking window. You know? And it takes a little time. I mean, if you see somebody and you say they're awake or they claim to be awake and aware of what's going on and all that, then yeah, you know, you hear them, you hear what they have to say, they're there, they're doing a show, they're talking, and then something inside of you goes, something not right. Then you start hearing them parrot the state-run media. Something's not right. Something's not right. So, you continue to listen to them. You continue to listen to them, and you find that they go off into a different direction or talk about other things in the news. You know? Well, for months and months and months, several months now, I have not listened to Glenn Beck. He's right about a lot of things, but can you say controlled opposition? Can you sum it up in one word and say shill? Because as you watch and learn and listen to what he says, it's all right on, and he talked about Agenda 21, and he talked about all this stuff in his books, and he made millions, and New York Times bestseller, and blah, blah, blah. He talks about that stuff. And he comes on his TV show at one point and says, there's no FEMA camps, and then he winks and says, they told me to say that. Was he winking? No, he knows it all, folks. He's pulling the wool over your eyes. He's causing you to, well, slip up and believe him. Click on his website and buy his books. He knows what he's doing. He's not a stupid man. But somebody's pulling his strings. FreeAmericaRadio.us. FreeAmericaRadio at USA.com. and I shall return right after this. Listen to Crash Talk with your host, Christopher John Taylor, on HTLA973.com.
Misfit is a misfit.
Samo.
Ignorant of hygiene, destructive, disorderly, and totally disrespectful.
It's the 515 with Samo on Samo Radio.
AM 1700 Daytona Beach, Holly Hill.
And Southnet 1.
Take the last train to Boston. See them open run. He's leaving. On that midnight train to Georgia.
Sarasota's home for R&B and soul. The Razor Blade Express with Dave the Rave.
Want to know what's happening all around us? You do? Great! Come check out the Diana and Wayne's Grab Bag Potpourri Talk Show, Friday nights at 7 p.m. Pacific, 10 p.m. Eastern, right here on Spreaker.com. Have a nice trip. See you next fall. Attending their daughter's wedding in South Africa promised to be a vacation of a lifetime. But first, they had to face the treacherous gauntlet known as modern-day travel. Waiting for them on the other side of the world are an honest-to-goodness safari with amorous lions and elephants with anger issues, a life-affirming visit to a South African school, and an anxious bride and groom standing patiently at the airport with a sign that reads, "What took you so long?" The answers lie within the pages of Please Hold Thumbs, a not-so-round trip to South Africa. A true tale of turbulence and triumph from Travel Mug, Scott Cherney, author of Red Asphalt. Available at Amazon.com in paperback and on the Kindle.
This is Michael Vera with Late Night in the Midlands, and you're listening to the views expressed live with your host, Reverend Wayne Pierce, on the Free America Radio Network.
Hey folks, this is the Views Express live right here for the 4th of June 2014. How y'all doing? Right here on the Free America Radio Network. Go to freeamericaradio.us. freeamericaradio@usa.com is the email. If you have any questions, ask me anything you like. No question is off limits. If I don't know, I'll tell you I don't know. It's simple as that, folks. What can I say? Yeah, before the obligatory break at the 5 after mark, I don't have to do that. I do that because I've got too many promotions to do of other people's shows and stuff, and, you know, I want to get it in as much as I possibly can. But, you know, I talked about Glenn Beck. He's right. I'm not going to say he's wrong, but he is, you know, controlled opposition. Okay, I mean, that's just watching him talk about other stuff, inserting God into the whole, you know, mix of things, talking about the Tea Party, you know, talking about the things that he talks about, you know, and not really getting, you know, opening Pandora's box and really getting into, you know, what is really happening and who it is. But the fact of the matter is that I watched him on HLN and Fox and all of that, and he's got chalkboards and he shows you every person and everything going on and all that, and that's fine and that's great and dandy and wonderful. And that opened everybody's eyes, and he was very genuine when he said that. But I believe that when he went to Fox, just shortly before he left, I believe somebody got to him. I believe that somebody, and by the way, just to let you know, he does broadcast his show on the same network that George Norrie does, and that would be Premier Networks. And I think that somebody is tapping on his shoulder going, "You're getting too close." But he's right about everything, folks. Don't get me wrong. He's right about everything that he's talking about. He's just sliding over here. Yes, oh, look, the light bulb is on. But, hey, look over here. It's a great book. Read this. Oh, look at that table. Wonderful. Fantastic. Oh, look out the window. It's a really nice day. It's that kind of thing. Right? And no one else that I know has ever really done that. In other words, they'll get close, but he's the most popular one. Now, I could also say the same thing about Alex Jones, who doesn't talk about Stratfor or reveals the awesome information and evidence about 9/11, the real issues of 9/11. Former CIA agents and former people, members of those cliques in Washington came out and said no planes hit the buildings. CBS News came out, literally a cop was on, telling everybody to get back, they're going to blow the building. That was Building 7. And there's so much disinformation out there that you would think that somebody like Glenn Beck and Alex Jones would be on top of these things and just say, hey, look, here it is. You guys decide. But no. They're right about everything they talk about 100%. But Alex Jones is more right than Glenn Beck. I would listen to Alex Jones over Glenn Beck any day, even though I've listened to Glenn Beck for over the 4 or 5 years that I've, listened to him and watched him. But the fact of the matter is they don't open the box far enough to show you what's in the damn box. They say, look, there's a box. Ooh, look, pretty colors. Close the box. Well, what was in there? I didn't see that. Well, here's what's in there. We'll tell you what's in the box, but we won't show you. In other words, they'll pull out certain things and say, yes, here's this and here's that, but there's something else. No, there isn't. In other words, they know what's going on. Alex Jones more than Glenn Beck, but I think they both equally know a whole lot more than what they're letting on, and they're not letting anyone else know about it. In other words, they just don't talk about it. No, why not? Don't ignore it. Just, I know it. I'm just not going to talk about it. So, yeah. Alex Jones was at Fort A.P. Hill. His reporters were at Fort A.P. Hill showing that that mock town, a U.S. town, where military is going to train to take on the American citizens. Yes, that's the only reason why, because every single building there looked like an American building, not something you find in Afghanistan or Iraq. I didn't see Glenn Beck going down there. Glenn Beck kind of, wishy-washy, washed over the whole Clive and Bundy incident. David Knight was down there doing the best job he could. But the only person down there in Bunkerville, talking to the family, having dinner with them, talking to the other people that were around, talking to Stuart Rhodes from Oath Keepers, talking to other people, was Pete Santilli from the Guerrilla Media Network. He was down there all the time. Every chance he got, he was down there. Him and one of his callers that calls in, a regular caller, person that he talks to on air from Michigan, told him one day, hey, look, dude, I got a RV. I don't use it hardly ever. Why don't we get on the road? It was one of his listeners, one of his people. Yeah, so this person from Michigan drives this RV out to Southern California, picks up Pete Santilli. They go up to Bunkerville, where also Patrick Henningsen from 21st Century Wire is filming a documentary about the Bunkerville incident, about the Bundy incident. And today, Kenny from Michigan, who owns the RV, and Pete Santilli are on their way to New Mexico to, I believe it was Otero, where that city council just pretty much took over the meeting. You've seen that on YouTube and on the news. Pete Santilli went out to Benton Harbor. Is that what it is up in Michigan? Really fantastic, wonderful place for all these people, but the town is not working. Yeah, Whirlpool came in there and said, well, hey, we're going to do this, and we're going to give everybody jobs, and we're going to do this, and nobody's got a job, but they got a golf course there with a $10,000 membership fee. So he flew up there and protested that with Pastor Pinkney up there, Reverend Pinkney, Edward Pinkney, I believe his name was, who is under house arrest because of he went out to try to get a recall of the sheriff, and yeah, they didn't like that, so they put him under house arrest, and they shut down the recall vote. That's fascism right there, folks. You go out to your city council and you tell your city council, we want a recall vote on the sheriff who's unconstitutional, and I'm going to get 10,000, 20,000, 30,000 signatures to recall this bastard because he's unconstitutional. Yeah, they'll put you under house arrest. That's fascism, folks. You go against the system, they'll either put you under house arrest or SWAT team you, or, as I like to say, Guantanamo you. So I don't see Glenn Beck or Alex Jones talk about that. Now, I have to give Alex Jones credit. He had in his studio the founding member, former member, but the founding member of the Black Panthers in his studio, telling Alex Jones listeners and everybody across the world that Barack Obama is a fraud. So, I mean, the alternative independent media has it right. And yes, I throw Glenn Beck in there too. They have it right. But once in a while, they get caught up in selling more books than they do about revealing the truth. Now, I believe that Glenn Beck is a really good man, very genuine man, but somebody got to him and is tapping on his shoulders saying, see that line over there? Don't cross that. You really don't want to go over there. Over here, yeah, you can talk about anything you want. Just don't go over there. Yeah, he just bought, or has had for quite some time, a big-ass movie studio that he bought in Dallas, Texas. So, you tell me. He walked away from Fox News, and allegedly, they paid him $40 million a year. So, that buys a lot of influence, doesn't it? Anyway, enough of that. They're right, but I believe that when you don't reveal the truth, you have to hold them accountable. When you don't reveal all of the information that's there, you have to hold them accountable. And if you become a shill, you have to hold them accountable and throw it up in their face and make sure that they realize that they've gotten off track a little bit. And this is my way of saying, you guys are off track. You need to put yourself back on track and get on down the line, because America depends on your information. Because little guys like me only have so much resources that we have to use. We're getting it from you guys, okay? It's like, come on. So anyway, enough of that. How are you on this 4th of June, 2014? Go to Free America Radio on Facebook. Free America Radio on Facebook. Ted Cruz with Megyn Kelly on the Kelly Files, I believe. said 42 Democrats have signed on to repealing, let me say that again, 42 Democrats have signed on to repealing the First Amendment. And that's from minorityreportblog.com. Also from the freethoughtproject.com, Baltimore cops to round up kids and put them in quote-unquote connection centers to enforce curfew law. Baltimore, Maryland. Also from vineoflifenews.com, NWO brain frequency weapon controlling your mind. Yeah, go check that one out, folks. Oh, and did you hear recently that Seattle just raised their, the city council there raised the minimum wage to $15 an hour? Bye-bye small business. And did you also hear in connection to that, last week I heard that McDonald's is going to put in 7,000 little tiny kiosks where you can order it yourself, walk up to the counter, and you can pay for it at the kiosk, and there you go, folks. How's that $15 an hour working out for you, you little fast food brats? From Grassfire Nation on Facebook, another fast food boss supports employee wage hike if government mandates it. That right there is communism. Or fascism, however you want to look at it. Okay? From Mississippi Gun News, Dana Griswold writes an article posted today. House Republicans vote to deny Second Amendment rights to millions. House Republicans vote to deny Second Amendment rights to millions. I'll let you try to wrap your mind around that one. Freedom Informant Network, freedominfonet.net. Noam Chomsky, a surveillance state beyond imagination is being created. You got to read some of his writings. That man is right on, man. I'm telling you. Oh, by the way, alternet.org. How well is alternet.org? How well are they? Are they kind of like, I don't know. That's why I'm asking you. I have no clue. Some of their stuff is good. Some of their stuff is kind of really, out in left field. So I don't have any opinion on how their site is or run or anything. But how do you feel alternet.org does? Okay. New study. Walmart scammed American taxpayers for $104 million by giving executives obscene bonuses. From worldtruth.tv. Crap sure is getting real, huh? Remember when the New World Order was just a conspiracy theory? Oh, and by the way, speaking of which, a couple of days ago at West Point, I believe it was at West Point, Vice President Joe Biden talked about the New World Order. He mentioned to the cadets there that, yes, they're going to be part of a new world order and all this, that, and the other thing. Glenn Beck said, oh, that's not what, he said new world order, not in the way that the conspiracy theorists understand it. So he's trying to play it down. You see what I'm saying? You can go to theblaze.com or click on, I think it's radio on that site, or go to glennbeck.com and find the videos. Not radio. You go to theblaze.com, click on videos, and it shows a whole bunch of videos. You can click on those and hear what he has to say. And I just leave it up to you, but I think Glenn Beck has gotten off track. I really do. When you look at his past, when you look at when he was working at HLN and Fox, I mean, he opened it up and said, this is what's happening, people. He just plainly put it out there. And now he's holding back? Did somebody pull on his leash? TheNewAmerican.com, Bilderberg, where business and big government plot globalism. You might... I want to say that in the Spreaker chat, got the one and only Mr. Nick Tucker from Distorted Reality with Nick Tucker on Facebook. Check out what he has put up recently. His show is on hiatus, having some technical difficulties with his with his laptop. But the show is on hiatus to a point, but I have word from him that things are looking up. They're kind of, I mean, like anything, and I'm going to say this in support of anybody doing shows like this or you know, having shows like it. It's a little slow, trust me. When you put stuff together, when you try to, you know, program your shows and do stuff, and, you know, you got to get all this information, you got to dig through it, it's a lot of work, but it's slow. But once you get going, it's pretty simple, man, you know. And if you've been a fan of mine for the 3 years or however long I've been doing this, you know that what I find interesting, I post on Free America Radio on Facebook or on the main feed, and I talk about it. So instead of having, you know, if you watch Alex Jones, he's got all this paper and stuff and articles and stuff, and he reads, oh, screw that, man. I don't have enough ink in my printer to be doing that. So I just post it, go to it, and talk about it. Pretty simple, but I got to dig through some of it. And because some of it, to me, I just look at it and go, really? I got to check this out. But anyway, yeah. Hey, Californians, are you people stupid? Wait, I asked a very obvious question. Blog.sfgate.com. Why did 200,000 plus Californians vote for Leland Yee? If no one knows about Leland Yee, he was prosecuted for gun running. Yeah, isn't that wonderful? Buying weapons and selling them to the drug gangs in California, in his area. Isn't that lovely? Look at that. We have a man who just wants to put the weapons on the streets in the hands of the enemy, and people actually gave him votes for that? That tells you how out of touch and really ignorant California has become. I can say that because I'm a former Californian, born and raised in Stockton, California. I saw the writing on the wall. I said, screw this, I'm leaving. California's nice. There's a lot of beautiful places there, and I'm sure Arizona's the same way. Because I know people in Phoenix. I knew some people that lived down there. I think Nick Tucker is originally from there as well. Beautiful place. California is wonderful. Beautiful mountains, but the politics? Yeah, let's fire them all and get people in there that actually want peace, freedom, and security for California, you know? It's too late now, though, because the Pandora's box has been opened, the liberals have taken over, all that crap is just, I mean, that's just the way it is. You know, that's just the way it is. Hey, email me if you have any questions, freeamericaradio@usa.com, freeamericaradio@usa.com. You can listen to this show on wakingupthemasses.com and on your TuneIn app on your favorite iPhone or smartphone. By going to wakingupthemasses.com, you can download the TuneIn app and punch in the search engine there on the TuneIn app, Waking Up the Masses, and you will hear this show as well as many others on Waking Up the Masses Radio Network. We are also being broadcast on 1610 AM in the Chickamauga, Georgia area. Hello, Georgia! Okay, some of the things out there aren't working out for you, are they? Let me know. freeamericaradio@usa.com. freeamericaradio@usa.com, and the website is freeamericaradio.us. This is Reverend Wayne S. Pierce from the Free America Radio Network. Prepare yourself for the unexpected. Have an emergency food supply available when you need it. You never know when the next power outage or natural disaster will happen. Are you prepared when it does? Go to Free America Radio Network website and click on the Store tab and get your emergency food supply now. Go to freeamericaradio.us. A natural disaster could happen at any time. Be prepared. Go to freeamericaradio.us and click on the Store tab to get your emergency food supply today. That's freeamericaradio.us and click on the Store tab and prepare in case something happens. Listen to the Diana and Wayne's Grab Bag Potpourri Talk Show, Friday nights at 8 p.m. Pacific, 11 p.m. Eastern, right here on Spreaker.com. Photography is an art form, and Adventures in Photography shows you all of the forms of art there is in our world. Spencer Hughes captures the colors and works of natural art in his book, Adventures in Photography. For more information, go to spencerhughesphotography.com.
Sharing the truth one fact at a time. This is the Free America Radio Network.
From behind enemy lines in FEMA Region 9, in the biggest little city in the world, Reno, Nevada, you're listening to The Views Expressed Live. Hey, folks, how are you? Welcome back. How are you? It's the 4th of June, 2014. Yes, it's hump day. Yeah, what are y'all doing? Go to Free America Radio on Facebook. Hey, also drop on over to Distorted Reality with Nick Tucker on Facebook. Yes. He's in the Spreaker chat. How you doing, dude? Anyway, scroll on down. Obama administration orders Georgia. Hello, Chickamauga, Georgia. Let me know if this is absolutely true. Please, Free America Radio at USA.com. Free America Radio at USA.com. Obama's administration orders Georgia to immediately stop requiring drug tests before getting taxpayer-funded food stamps. Eric Odom over at LibertyNews.com posted this. Thank you, Eric. It's my cousin's name. Not only does Obama administration actively market and promote the food stamp program with the hopes of growing it, he also uses the federal government to beat back any state government who tries to make sure we're not funding drug addicts. America is experiencing a deep dive into socialism, and the dive is heavily protected by our own federal government. From Huffington Post, the federal government has put the state of Georgia on formal notice that it can't make poor people take drug tests when they apply for food stamps. In April, Governor Nathan Deal, the Republican, signed a law requiring the state to test any food stamp applicant suspected of being on drugs starting in 2016. Why not do it now? The United States Department of Agriculture told the Georgia Department of Human Services on Tuesday that states can't make up new eligibility standards for the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, so drug tests are a no-no. quote, requiring SNAP applicants and recipients to pass a drug test in order to receive benefits would constitute an additional condition of eligibility and therefore is not allowed under law, unquote. Regional USDA Administrator Robin Bailey said in a letter. Last year, Republicans in Congress tried but failed to give states the power to screen SNAP applicants. Drug test proposals for all manner of safety net programs have been popular with Republicans in recent years, despite the dearth of evidence that welfare users are drug abusers. Thoughts? In one hand, I am with those of the mind that says, if I work for it, I want these people tested. My tax dollars aren't paying for them to go do drugs. But on the other hand, I also look at it this way. You have how many people unemployed? How many people off of the unemployment doles? How many families only have one person working, whether it be the mom or the dad? How many single parents do we have working a job or two, basically 2 part-time jobs? How much of the resources that we have require an eligibility or a form of eligibility? Would not drug testing be part of that? Now, I've also heard the argument that it would cost too much. Really? If I've got to get a drug test to go to work at a job somewhere and pay taxes out of that to help somebody who needs it, I'm okay with that. Social Security, disability, that kind of thing, and they need it. But. When you've got how many people on welfare, how many people abuse the system? Oh, hell no. I'm not gonna pay my taxes for somebody like that. You better drug test them. And if my happy little butt can get out and go to work, so can they. Well, I want to stay home with my kids, and I don't care. For the people that actually need it, it hurts them that other people play the system. Do you understand where that whole mindset is? I don't mind paying taxes to help people out. The retired folk and all that. Taxes, I think, need to be flat tax across the board, but I don't mind. But I do mind when it comes to my taxes supporting somebody on welfare, just having babies, or just playing the system to get whatever they want. Drug test them. Do I think that people right now who are on Social Security or Social Security disability or whatever should be drug tested? No, because they're already on the system. I think that every 6 months to a year they need to be reevaluated. That's okay. I don't mind that. But there's a whole process involved. And it just gets all really, people are, now I've heard that some people who are on the system, quote unquote, are now complaining. This is, I think a small percentage of them are now complaining that when they go in to be reevaluated, they're telling their workers, the workers ask certain questions, well, I can't answer that. That's, you're violating my personal rights by asking that question. When that organization, that department has a right to ask. So I'm seeing that go on. There's that little tug of war going on. I'm hearing about that too on the fringes, but if I got to work to support my family, yeah, I really think that there are people out there who play the system need to be drug tested. So, but that, how can you tell? Seriously, how can you tell? Do you wander off into those neighborhoods that those people are in? I don't think so. And let me go to Free America Radio on Facebook, and let me read you about this here. Noam Chomsky. This is Freedom Informant Network. freedominfonet.net. A surveillance state beyond imagination is being created. This is an article from alternet.org. In the past several months, we have been provided with instructive lessons on the nature of state power and the forces that drive state policy. And on a closely related matter, the subtle, differentiated concept of transparency. The source of the instruction, of course, is the trove of documents about the National Security Agency surveillance system released by the courageous fighter of freedom Edward J. Snowden, expertly summarized and analyzed by his collaborator Glenn Greenwald in his new book, No Place to Hide. The documents unveil a remarkable project to expose to state scrutiny vital information about every person who falls within the grasp of the Colossus. In principle, every person linked to the modern electronic society. Let me stop right there and say this. There was a movie many, many years ago, and I remember the actor in it, and for you people who watch soap operas out there, you remember a guy named Victor. He's a character, I think, on All My Children or something. I don't know what freaking show he's on. I don't watch that stuff. But I've heard about him. I can't Braden is his last name, the actor's name. But he was in a movie, The Forbin Project. Go look it up. Go grab the DVD and watch that movie. The Forbin Project. Okay? I'm just saying. Let me read this again. The documents unveil a remarkable project to expose to state scrutiny vital information about every person who falls within the grasp of the Colossus. That's what he named his computer in the movie. In principle, every person linked to the modern electronic society. Nothing so ambitious was imagined by the dystopian prophets of grim totalitarian worlds ahead. It is of no slight import. It is of no slight import that the project is being executed by one of the freest countries in the world and radical violation of the U.S. Constitution's Bill of Rights, which protects citizens from, quote, unreasonable searches and seizures, unquote, and guarantees the privacy of their quote, persons, houses, papers, and effects, unquote. Much as government lawyers may try, there is no way to reconcile these principles with the assault on the population revealed in the Snowden documents. It is also well to remember that defense of the fundamental right to privacy helped to spark the American Revolution. Let me read that line again, folks. Wrap your mind around this. 1775, 1776. It is also well to remember that defense of the fundamental right to privacy helped to spark the American Revolution. In the 18th century, the tyrant was the British government. They still own this government, by the way, folks, which claimed the right to intrude freely into the homes and personal lives of American colonists. Today, it is the American citizen's own government that arrogates itself this authority. Britain retains the stance that drove the colonists to rebellion, though on a more restricted scale, as power has shifted into world affairs. The British government has called on the NSA, quote, to analyze and retain any British citizen's mobile phone and fax numbers, emails, and IP addresses swept up by its dragnet, unquote. The Guardian reports, working from documents provided by Snowden. British citizens, like other international customers, will also doubtless be pleased to learn that the NSA routinely receives or intercepts routers, servers, and other computer network devices exported from the United States so it can implant surveillance tools, as Greenwald reports in his book. As the Colossus fulfills its vision, in principle every keystroke might be sent to President Obama's huge and expanding databases in Utah. By the way, in Utah, that big Bluffdale facility, that's not the only one, folks. There's several all over the United States, and there's also one in Israel. In other ways, too, the constitutional lawyer in the White House seems determined to demolish the foundations of our civil rights, the principle of the presumption of innocence, which dates back to the Magna Carta 800 years ago, has long been dismissed to oblivion. Recently, the New York Times reported the anguish of a federal judge who had to decide whether to allow the force-feeding of a Syrian prisoner who was on a hunger strike to protest his imprisonment. No quote-unquote anguish was expressed over the fact that he has been held without trial for 12 years in Guantanamo, one of many victims of the leader of the free world who claims the right to hold prisoners without charge and to subject them to torture. These exposures lead us to inquire into state policy more generally and the factors that drive it. The received standard version is that the primary goal of policy is security and defense against enemies. The doctrine at once suggests a few questions. Security of whom and defense against which enemies? The answers are highlighted dramatically by the Snowden revelations. Policy must assure the security of state authority and concentrations of domestic power, defending them from the frightening enemy, the domestic population, which can become a great danger if not controlled. It has long been understood that information about the enemy makes a critical contribution to controlling it. In that regard, Obama has a series of distinguished predecessors, though his contributions have reached unprecedented levels, as we have learned from the work of Snowden, Greenwald, and a few others. To defend state power and private economic power from the domestic enemy, those two entities must be concealed, while in sharp contrast, the enemy must be fully exposed to state authority. The principle was lucidly explained by the policy intellectual Samuel P. Huntington, who instructed us that, quote, power remains strong when it remains in the dark, exposed to the sunlight. It begins to evaporate, unquote. Huntington added a crucial illustration. In his words, quote, you may have to sell intervention or other military action in such a way as to create the misimpression that it is the Soviet Union that you are fighting, that it is the United States that is what the United States has been doing ever since the Truman Doctrine, unquote. Go to your favorite search engine and look that one up, the Truman Doctrine, at the outset of the Cold War. Huntington's insight into state power and policy was both accurate and prescient, as he wrote these words in 1981. The Reagan administration was launching its war on terror, which quickly became a murderous and brutal terrorist war, primarily in Central America, but extending well beyond to Southern Africa and Asia and the Middle East. From that day forward, in order to carry out violence and subversion abroad or repression and violation of fundamental rights at home, state power was regularly sought to create the misimpression that it is terrorists that we are fighting, though there are other options. Drug lords, mad mullahs seeking nuclear weapons, and other ogres said to be seeking to attack and destroy us. In other words, the boogeyman, folks. Throughout, the basic principles remain. Power must be exposed to the sunlight. Edward Snowden has become the most wanted criminal in the world for failing to comprehend this essential maxim. In brief, There must be complete transparency for the population, but none of the powers that must defend themselves from this fearsome internal enemy. Something's up with Snowden. What do you think? You think he is a double agent? Maybe having a handler in Russia where he is at currently? Maybe having information given to him? I don't know. I'm not sure. I don't know what to think about him. So you tell me. Email me, freeamericaradio@usa.com. freeamericaradio@usa.com. You can go to freeamericaradio.us. You can donate to the Free America Radio Network to help us get to the next level. You can, hey, if you are so inclined to do so, you can advertise on the Free America Radio Network. All you got to do is email me and we'll work something out. And it's really cheap, folks. Trust me. Really, really cheap. So email me, freeamericaradio@usa.com, freeamericaradio@usa.com. Or if you don't want to do that, you can donate. Go down to freeamericaradio.us. Go down to the bottom of the page. You'll see a donate button. There you go. Yeah, that's all you got to do. Just hit the donate button, and whatever you can do is very much appreciated. So thank you very much for your support. Also, after the views expressed today, you will hear, I hope you will hear, WakingUpTheMasses.com with Bob Brutus, or a replay of a show by the late William Cooper, who, of course, exposed all of this many, many years ago, long before Alex Jones. I've known this stuff since Carter was president. I didn't know the details. I had an overview. People were telling me things, older people, adults, and I was like 15, 16, 17 years old. What was I supposed to do with it? I kept it in my head, and I looked it up at the San Joaquin County Public Library. I looked at references. I put two and two together. Found out that this government is a complete and total fraud. I came to that realization in the early 80s after I graduated high school. The laws on the books that are supposed to protect the people, you and I, that's a joke, folks. You know what they're there to protect? The corporation, which is the United States of America. 1871. The Act of 1871 and other documents related to that have proven beyond a shadow of a doubt this is not the United States for America, or this is not the United States of America for the people. This is the United States of America for the corporations. Because in 1871, or 1870 actually, this country was completely and utterly broke. Zero, zip, zilch, nada. And we couldn't rebuild much because we didn't have the money. Because it all went to the Civil War, 1861 to 1865. And, well, our leaders back then worked something out with some very interesting people. In other words, they sold the United States of America back to the British Empire through the banking cartel owned by the Rothschilds. Yeah, folks. The Queen of England, with all pomp and circumstance, can come here, land at the airport, take a limo with a bunch of, police escorting that limo, it's pomp and circumstance, walk right into the White House, tell Mr. Obama, get the hell out of my seat. She can do that, folks. She did it in Canada 3 times in 1 year. I think it was 3 times in 1 year. Suspended Parliament. Just went right in and told the Prime Minister, stop. You're not doing this. Here is the goal of these yahoos. The country of Mexico is a socialist country. The country of Canada is a socialist country, run by the Queen. Now, another faction, another political faction of the world runs Mexico. And they operate it through whatever means there is, but there's drug cartels down there, and that's pretty much the manufacturing of all the drugs that come into the United States. So, they're a socialist country, politically. The only way to finalize and nail this coffin shut in the sovereignty and freedom of the United States and implement the North American Union is to turn the United States into a socialist nation. After that, no more borders, no more nothing. Everybody just is, it's a free-for-all. Now, if you don't believe that, go back, grab your favorite search engine, and search this. President Bush, Prime Minister Paul Martin, and Mexican President Vicente Fox all signed a document in 2005 at Baylor University. On paper, creating the North American Union. Here's the instructions. Here's this. This is how it's going to be. In 2009, I believe that Mexican President Felipe Calderon, our President Barack Obama, and the then Prime Minister and current Prime Minister of Canada signed a document which created the infrastructure, the tools to make it work. What has been happening over the last year, folks, is in direct violation of our constitutional protected rights, okay? And number two is in line with creating that North American Union. We already have a European Union, which is falling apart as we speak. We have an Asian Union, which is financially going to hell in a handbasket and being destroyed as well. But now they want to destroy this part of the world, the North American Union. Folks, Houston, we have a problem. We don't want this. We, the people, need to stand up, speak up, and get involved, like Brian Lang says on Live Truth Radio. It has come to the point now, people, where you cannot sit on your ass much longer because, well, you just can't. But I don't want to get out because I don't want, oh my God, you know, if I take my kids to school and then go protesting and I get put in jail, then who's going to pick up my kids from school? Make arrangements if you think that's going to happen. Have an exit plan, folks. Because pretty soon, through no fault of our own, your city, your state, the federal government can come along and turn off all the power. Then where will we be? An EMP from the sky could knock out all electronics. And then what? Let's just hope that doesn't happen. Let's hope we get enough information out there to stop these, criminals from doing this. But are they going to do it anyway, even if we scream loud enough? Probably. I suggest one thing, and it'll help out Free America Radio Network, too. And if I got to get on my CB radio without an internet or whatever, then I'm going to have to do that. Or if I'm going to have to send up smoke signals, I'll have to do that. But go to Free America Radio Network, hit the emergency food supply tab, and get as much food for today, because you never know what's going to happen tomorrow. You never know, folks. You never freaking know. I'll be back right after this. Are you tired of listening to boring online late-night radio? The Then listen to Late Night in the Midlands with your host, Michael Vera, 9 p.m. to 12 midnight Eastern. Go to www.latenightinthe.midlands.com for more information.
Join the National Down Syndrome Society's My Great Story campaign
to honor and celebrate the amazing stories of the 400,000 Americans with Down syndrome.
If you have Down syndrome, tell us about your achievements, dreams, and aspirations.
If you know someone who has Down syndrome, tell us how they've inspired you.
Visit ndss.org/stories to share your great story.
Listen to the Diana and Wayne's Grab Bag Potpourri Talk Show, Friday nights at 8 p.m. Pacific, 11 p.m. Eastern, right here on Spreaker.com. Waking up the masses. Truth, knowledge, and wisdom for your consumption. Waking up the masses. News and views concerning the New World Order. Waking up the masses. Join Bob Brutus as he pulls back the curtain on the esoteric agenda which has been in play for a millennia. Waking up the masses. WakingUpTheMasses.com.
Lock it on to the best station on the net, around the planet on the World Wide Web.
With her unique, fast-paced, witty sarcasm, Angel Clark brings you the news of the day with a creative twist. Monday through Friday, 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. Eastern on RadioFreedom.us. You can also listen to her live on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
Lock it on to the best station on the net.
The Free America Radio Network. Are you a filmmaker and want to make your epic feature film with no money, some money, and/or all the money in the world? Listen to Christopher J. Taylor as he discusses everything you need to know about filmmaking and more on Film 101 on HTLA973.com.
I knew it. This is an alien, and you guys are from some government agency trying to keep it under wraps.
I can't take it anymore!
anymore. You've got troubles, Mac.
Did you know that the first Matrix was designed to be a perfect human world where none suffered, where everyone would be happy? It was a disaster. No one would accept the program. Entire crops were lost. Some believed that we lacked the programming language to describe your perfect world, but I believe that as a species, human beings define their reality through misery and suffering. So the perfect world was a dream that your primitive cerebrum kept trying to wake up from. Which is why the Matrix was redesigned to this, the peak of your civilization.
So this is how liberty dies. With thunderous applause.
Sharing the truth one fact at a time. This is the Free America Radio Network.
Hey folks, welcome. This is the Free America Radio Network. This is the Views Expressed live right here for the 4th of June 2014, right here on Spreaker.com, on freeamericaradio.us, on wakingupthemasses.com, and also on 1610 AM in the Chickamauga, Georgia area. How y'all doing out there today? Lots of things happening. You can go to freeamericaradio.us and donate to the cause, if you will, to Free America Radio Network. Also, you can, if you have any questions, please ask. Hey, no question is off limits. If I don't know, I'll tell you I don't know. Email me, freeamericaradio@usa.com, freeamericaradio@usa.com. Yes, go to Free America Radio on Facebook. Yes. Go to Free America Radio on Facebook. Hey, I got a question for you. I got a lot of stuff going on other than this show. I produce this show, and it takes a little bit of time. But I also got other things going on as well, kind of giving me a break from all this. And that's Eastland Radio Repertory Theater. And you ever heard those old radio shows? Yeah, you find them on the internet every so often, or, all over the place, and you hear them on the radio every so often. That's what I do. I write scripts. I do all that, so I need some voiceover actors. If you're able and willing and ready to do it, just to hone your abilities and something to put on your resume. So email me at eastlandradiofilms@usa.com. eastlandradiofilms@usa.com for Eastland Radio Repertory Theater, which is also on Spreaker.com. So check that out. Thank you. Appreciate that very much. If you have any questions, please email me. I'll answer you. Not a big deal. VineOfLifeNews.com has an article written by Lisa Haven. NWO brain frequency weapon controlling your mind? Patented evidence. And the link to the image and mark of the Antichrist. There's a shocking video in that article. But the end of all things is at hand. But ye therefore of sound mind, and be sober unto prayer. 1 Peter 4:7. Trouble is likely headed our way with the discovery of a patent that has been put out with the technological capabilities to monitor and control human thought without the use of speech. This technology is highly controversial, to say the least, but it draws an awful slippery slope between human control and free will. According to the patent's abstract, quote, a system and method of enabling human beings to communicate by way of their monitoring brain activity. The brain activity of an individual is monitored and transmitted to a remote location, for example, a satellite, At the remote location, the monitored brain activity is compared with pre-recorded normalized brain activity curves, waveforms, and patterns to be determined if a match or substantial match is found. If such a match is found, then the computer at the remote location determines that the individual was attempting to communicate the word, phrase, or thought corresponding to the matched stored normalized signal, unquote. Did you catch that? Quote, enabling humans to communicate by way of their monitored brain activity, unquote. This might just sound like a huge technological feat, but it doesn't end there. One of the objectives listed by this patent is the following, quote, it is another object of this invention to provide a system of it is another object of this invention to provide a system capable of identifying particular nodes in an individual's brain, the firings of which affect characteristics such as appetite, hunger, thirst, communication skills. For example, which nodes are utilized to communicate certain words such as yes, no, or phrases such as I don't know, I'm not sure, or numbers such as 1, 2, 10, 100, and the like. Thought processes, depression, and the like. When such nodes are identified, they may be specifically monitored by one or more sensors to analyze behavior or communication or words, phrases, or thoughts. And other embodiments, devices mounted to the person underneath the scalp, may be energized in a predetermined manner or sequence to remotely cause particular identified brain nodes to be fired in order to cause a predetermined feeling or reaction in the individual, such as lack of hunger, lack or depression, lack or thirst, lack of aggression, lack of Alzheimer's disease effects, or the like, unquote. I don't know about you, but that sounds like mind control on steroids. There's a video associated with this, folks. You might want to watch it. But for those that have, in the past or present, have read the Bible, and I have, it says here, quote, he was granted power to give breath to the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause as many as would not worship the image of the beast to be killed. He causes all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and slave, to receive a mark on their right hand or in their foreheads, and that one may no one may buy or sell except one who has the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. Here is wisdom. Let him who has understanding calculate the number of the beast, for it is a number of the man. Number of a man. Let me read that again. For it is a number of a man. His number is 666. Revelation 13, verses 15 through 18. You've probably heard that in the beginning of the song by Iron Maiden, Number of the Beast. Bone-chilling apocalyptic mystery sounds decoded. NWO testing masses with mind control vibration tech for global slavery. Jaw-dropping videos and pictures. There's that right below the video there. The patent, you can go look this up on your favorite search engine, specifically google.ca, which is Canada, /patents/ get this, write this down, folks, US 6011991. Let me say that again, google.ca /patents/ US 6011991. I'm giving you all the information, folks, right there. You're going to have to go determine whether or not it's, it's credible. Okay, I know it is, but you need to determine this for yourself, because I can't throw you on the ground and twist your arm and make you believe this. You should you should be able to do this on your own. Man, excuse me, I can't even type here. Somebody sent me a message. I'm answering them. But here's a question for you, okay? Think about this. If you had someone come to you, show you different things, and prove to you that this is what's happening, why wouldn't you want to go check it out yourself? I don't know. I don't know. I know I would. I know if somebody showed me a whole lot of stuff, I would want to go and check it out myself. Seriously. I'm serious. The thing that really I think and this is just speculation, and this is a thought I had many years ago. I think if people really sat down and looked at all the information and stopped saying, I don't want to hear it, if they just, sat down and looked at everything, I don't think they would be able to wrap their mind around the insanity coming out of Washington, D.C. I really don't. I really don't. I think that some people, and I'm okay, I'll put it this way. I'm sure people would understand it and know what it means and attempt to wrap their mind around this. But I really don't think that right now, today, the 4th of June, 2014, people want to do that. They completely refuse to do any of it. And guess what? They've been distracted by misinformation, and they've been misdirected by disinformation, and it all comes out of the playbook. And I call it a playbook. It wasn't supposed to be an instruction manual, but it certainly is now. And that's George Orwell's Eric Blair's 1984. So if people were to just sit down and take a look at this and examine all of this and attempt to understand it, they'd be pissed off. But they're distracted by sports and reality shows and blah, blah, blah. And it's just, people just don't really. It's so overwhelming that they back up, and it's so unbelievable that they're not going to go forward to try to find out what it's all about. And it's unfortunate, too. I find it incredibly odd that people would just refuse to take a look at all this stuff. From thenewamerican.com, Alex Newman writes, Bilderberg, where big business and big government plot globalism. It's from Copenhagen. Over the weekend at the Bilderberg Summit in the Danish capital, dozens of the world's most important big business and mega bank CEOs were meeting behind closed doors and massive amounts of taxpayer-funded security with a collection of powerful big government leaders, high-level operatives for big green, big media, big oil, big espionage, big banks, big war, big internet, big foundations, big communism, big data, and most of the other important bigs were represented too. All of the attendees share at least one common element, though, a radical devotion to globalism. In public, Bilderberg Summit organizers seek to portray the gathering as a mere off-the-record discussion forum. A press release from Bilderberg released ahead of this year's summit, for example, claimed the purpose was merely, quote, to foster dialogue between Europe and North America, unquote. How a secrecy-obsessed, paranoid, closed-off meeting would foster any sort of quote-unquote dialogue between hundreds of millions of people on opposite sides of the Atlantic was not clear. What role a member of the Communist Party of China's Central Committee would play in such a dialogue also was not explained. Also wasn't explained was why the mayor of Atlanta was there. Interesting, huh? Hey, Georgia. You guys are right in the heart of the green belt, or right in the heart of this idea of green technology, green energy, green everything. You guys are right in the heart of it. Atlanta, I think, other than Detroit, is like the second or third on the list of being one of the most deadliest cities in the world. I don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong, please. Okay. Continuing. Still, quote unquote, nothing to see here. Bilderberg implausibly insists, quote, there is no desired outcome, no resolutions are proposed, no votes are taken, and no policy statements are issued, unquote. The official May 26 statement also claimed, numerous attendees, though, have suggested and even openly admitted in public statements over the years that much more than a mere private talk is in fact going on at the controversial summit. For example, in 2010, former NATO boss and two-time Bilderberg attendee William Klaas said in a radio interview that reports of speeches given to the summit are compiled. Quote, the participants are then obviously considered to use this report in setting their policies in the environments in which they affect, unquote, Klaas added, which analysts said was essentially an admission that Bilderberg attendees are secretly plotting your future behind closed doors. Isn't that lovely, folks? It's just fantastic, isn't it? The year before Klaas's admission, then Bilderberg chairman Étienne Devenon, I don't know, I'm not French, a former European Union commissar and current Belgian Minister of State, told the online EU Observer that the summit's, quote, helped create, unquote, the controversial euro currency imposed on 17 formerly sovereign European nations. Much evidence also suggests that the summits played a major role in foisting the EU superstate on the peoples of Europe against their will, a process that continues despite the lack of public support. More recently, despite protestations to the contrary, a Bilderberg attendee and the leader of the Socialist International Aligned Dutch Labour Party admitted on camera this year that he was at the summit in his official capacity as parliamentary leader. Asked if he was there in an informal capacity, he responded, well, I'm formal because being a politician, you're 24/7, so there's no way of exiting my role, unquote. The Bilderberg website says, quote, participants take part in the conference as individuals in their own right, unquote, but the comments by the Dutch lawmaker and, quote unquote, sustainability zealot Dietrich Samson suggested otherwise. You can go read that yourself, the rest of that yourself, folks. The Bilderberg Group created in 1954 at the Bilderberg Hotel. Yes, with all these world leaders coming along going, how are we going to do this? Folks, the Bilderberg meeting, the Bilderberg Group, is nothing more than a bunch of people moving chess pieces around in the global chess game. That's all it is. They're controlling you from every aspect that you can think of. Okay? Now, the question, and it's only a question, because I don't have the answer. I mean, I have a speculative answer, but it's only a question. If you knew or had heard of some of your city council members getting together with some of your county board of supervisors, getting together with some leaders in your city to meet behind closed doors in a secret meeting every year, what would you do? What would you do? And Nick Tucker from Distorted Reality with Nick Tucker on Facebook said, don't forget, they put Clinton in to pass NAFTA. Yes, they did. NAFTA was one of the, basically one of the laws of the Bilderberg Group. I say laws, I use that in air quotes, use that word loosely. To be one of those things in this green Agenda 21 thing to create trade between Mexico, because Mexico, did you notice the North American Free Trade Agreement opened the door to Mexico, and guess what? People lost their jobs here. Oh, it's going to create jobs for American people. No, it's not. It screwed it up. Thank you, Bill. I'll go talk to Monica. Anyway, Did you notice that, though? A lot of people here lost jobs because of NAFTA, but that was a Bilderberg creation through, and I can't remember who wrote it up, or who was told in Congress to write it up. I don't remember the specific people, but I can tell you this much. We have trade with Canada that is kind of not the greatest at this point. Okay. Have you looked at the trade agreements we have with Canada? Yeah. Have you looked at the trade agreements? I believe they signed it already. I think it was a couple of years ago. I think Obama signed it. Was the Colombia Free Trade Agreement with Colombia. Did you know that President Obama even signed a trade agreement with, with former and now dead Venezuelan President Hugo Chavez? I think he's dead. Did he finally die? Yeah. So, let's put it this way. People here are yelling about raising the minimum wage. How's that working out for you? When all of your jobs are going overseas. Do you know we don't have hardly any manufacturing jobs here anymore? It's kind of neat that that your gun manufacturing plants in California and New York all left. Went to Texas, went to Kansas, went every place else to more, freer states, So how's that minimum wage hike working out for you folks? When all your not your service jobs, but your manufacturing jobs and all your sales jobs are going overseas. Did you know that people now are going to college and unfortunately getting loans that they're not going to be able to pay back? But that's one thing. But they're going to college for financing, for global financing and all of that. Did you know that some of your universities like Columbia, George Washington University, Yale, Harvard, did you know that those people get out and have jobs waiting for them, but you and your kids and you, if you're in college, aren't going to get the job that you want because it's not there? Unless you sign on to the globalists, you ain't getting crap. I mean, that's just, it's tough enough every day to keep your head above water, moms. You know this, moms, mothers out there, single mothers, couples. You know this. You know how difficult it is. Dads, you are right there with them, and you know it. But you know what? You would give anything, including your life, to have that child be free of any socialistic, globalist, green agenda 21 type of policy in America. You know why? Because that's your life. That's your future right there. Whether you have a son or a daughter, that is your life right there. And that is why I tell you, folks, and I'm going to use Brian Lang's motto, and I give him full credit for it as well. Stand up, speak out, and get involved. Go check out livetruthradio.com on Waking Up the Masses. 12 noon Pacific, 3 Eastern. Awesome show. He had Pastor Manning on today. Holy crap. I'm just going to say, holy crap. Okay? I heard part of the interview. I was doing some work for this show, and oh, man. Check it out. Stand up, speak out, and get involved. Your environment is going to change you if you allow it. You can change your environment when you push against it and make it known that you are the driver of your own life. Now, a lot of my Christian friends are going to say, but what about God? I don't want to hear that. Why? Why don't you do some research and go back and look in history and stuff like that and find out where all the churches came from and who started them? Seriously. You understand the path you're on. You know what you're doing every single day, moms and dads. You wake up going, what can I do for my kids that's going to help them? Well, first of all, you need to get rid of the government that we have. Now, I'm not saying get rid of government completely. What I'm saying is, let me clarify, get rid of the corrupt government that we have, whether it's in your city council, your county board of supervisors, your state, your governors, all of that, even including Washington, D.C. Get rid of the corruption. Get rid of that. Corruption is a cancer to America. Have you figured that one out yet? Have you figured that out yet? I don't think so. I don't know, folks. I don't know. FreeAmericaRadio.us is the website. FreeAmericaRadio@USA.com is the email. Please email me and let me know how you like this show, and let me know what's happening in your neck of the woods. Go to FreeAmericaRadio.us to donate to Free America Radio Network and help us get to the next level. I shall return right after this. What is reality? The foundation of reality is based on many concepts. Each person perceives reality differently. In the book, The Grid by Marie D. Jones and Larry Flaxman, they explore the hidden infrastructure of reality. Get your copy today at Barnes & Noble and Amazon.com. The Grid by Marie D. Jones and Larry Flaxman.
And will, to the best of my ability,
preserve, protect, and defend.
Preserve, protect, and defend.
The Constitution of the United States.
The Constitution of the United States.
So help you God.
So help me God.
Ah, damn politicians. My mother always told me this country would be screwed if the liberals had their way. The only sanity I get is when I listen to Jeff Wagner on the Conservative Voice, only on the Conservative Radio Network.
This is Reverend Wayne S. Pierce, and I want to tell you of a DVD that I have watched. It's a very interesting one. It's a film by Alex Jones. It's called Endgame, Blueprint for Global Enslavement. For the New World Order, a world government is just a beginning. Once in place, they can engage their plan to exterminate 80% of the world's population while enabling the quote-unquote elites to live forever with the aid of advanced technology. For the first time, crusading filmmaker Alex Jones reveals their secret plan for humanity's extermination. Operation Endgame. That's Endgame by Alex Jones. Get it at Infowars.com or PrisonPlanet.com. Hey, folks, this is the Views Expressed live right here on the Free America Radio Network for the 4th of June, 2014. How y'all doing? How y'all doing over there at WakingUpTheMasses.com? I noticed I went over there in the chat box, not today, but recently, and said hey, and was over there, and nobody said anything. So if you want to chat with me, go to Spreaker.com, go to Free America Radio Network, click on the Views Expressed, there you go. Just jump in the chat room there and talk to me, all right? Hey, how you doing? Now, Infowars.com. By the way, I still listen to Alex Jones. Every so often I'll turn on Glenn Beck to see what kind of bullcrap he's talking about. I listen to Michael Savage once in a great while. Mark Levin, I listen to him rarely, but I have listened to him in the past. There's a lot of local stuff on 99.1 FM on our local station here. And I got to tell you, some people are wide awake. And it's kind of weird because the people that I listen to on 99.1 FM, they talk about this stuff. They don't get into speculative notions or anything like that. They want to stay away from that, but that whole station is a Fox News station. So there you go. That's why. the fake news. Infowars.com. Holder to create, get this, folks, homegrown terrorism task force. Obama admin ramps up targeting of political enemies. Michael Thalen over at Infowars.com posted this yesterday. Attorney General Eric Holder unveiled his plan to create a new Justice Department task force this week that will focus on the threat of homegrown terrorism. In a video posted at the department's website Monday, which was later removed, wonder why, Holder argued that the focus on terrorism should, quote-unquote, return to the U.S. as opposed to remaining overseas. Quote, we face an escalating danger from self-radicalized individuals within our own borders, unquote, Holder said. Quote, as the nature of the threat we face evolves to include the possibility of individual radicalization via the internet, it is crucial that we return our focus to potential extremists here at home, unquote. The Domestic Terrorism Executive Committee, an admittedly ramped-up version of Janet Reno's post-Oklahoma City bombing task force, will include U.S. attorneys as well as members from the FBI and Justice Department's National Security Division. Wait a minute. The Justice Department has a National Security Division? Really? Huh. I wonder if that's where where some of the 2.6 billion rounds of ammunition is going. Holder pointed out to a 2013 Congressional Research Service report that claims domestic terrorism has produced more than 24 incidents since 9/11 as justification for the task force, specifically noting the Boston Marathon bombing and the Fort Hood shooting. Quote, horrific terror incidents like the tragic shootings at Fort Hood and last year's Boston Marathon bombing demonstrate the danger we face from these homegrown threats, unquote, Holder said. Holder's announcement comes only days after the Washington Times revealed a chilling Department of Defense directive that details instances in which President Obama believes he would be authorized to use lethal military force against American citizens. A U.S. official speaking with the Times also revealed how the Obama administration considered using military force against Nevada rancher Cliven Bundy and his supporters. Unsurprisingly, Holder announcement fails to mention that the vast majority of the domestic terror plots since 9/11 have been created by the FBI, a point noted in a 2012 New York Times piece, quote-unquote, terror plots helped along by the FBI. So you want to go read the rest of that. There's a couple of videos there to check out. Of course, Judge Napolitano is there with a 5-minute video as well, and another video down at the end of the article, a 6.5-minute video. So you might want to go check that out, folks. Yeah, you might want to go check out this video. Let me find it for you again. Oh, gotta scroll on down here on Free America Radio on Facebook and find it. Here it is. Holder to create homegrown terrorism task force. Okay. Anyway. What is going on in your neck of the woods? Hey, Nick. He's in the Spreaker chat. Nick Tucker from Distorted Reality with Nick Tucker on Facebook. Check out what he puts up, man. Very informative. What's happening in down there in that county, in your city of the Sin City, as they call it? I think they got rid of that moniker, didn't they? Las Vegas, Nevada, where middle-aged lounge performers go to die. I'm just joking. There's some great shows down there. Anyway, it's a great place to be. Just don't live there. What What's happening in your neck of the woods? I want to know. I keep telling people, email me. Come on, I want to hear from you. Zip. I don't get email, man. Come on, send me some email. freeamericaradio@usa.com. freeamericaradio@usa.com. There are so many things that are going on in this country that we have to actually open our eyes. And again, via Brian Lang over at livetruthradio.com and wakingupthemasses.com with his show Live Truth Radio, he says, stand up, speak out, and get involved. How many of you are doing that? Yeah, how many of you are doing that? Seriously. Yeah, we have people out there who say they're quite aware of what's going on. I've heard some different shows on different networks here, on not only on Spreaker but also elsewhere, on personal networks of people who talk about this kind of stuff, and I'm hearing a lot of what I've heard on the state-run media. Okay? I don't hear people going in depth, exposing the fact that David Rockefeller is in line to, get the head seat with the Rockefellers. And I don't hear too much about, why the mayor of Atlanta, Georgia, went to the Bilderberg meeting. Can we say presidential candidate? Because damn well, if you put a third person into the, three-ring circus of politics, that's going to put a lot of pressure on Chris Christie and, of course, your wonderful piece of trash, Hillary Clinton. Hillary Clinton has come out and literally said she has not thought about it, but others said that she's not going to put it off. Chris Christie has, even... I don't see him campaigning. Because wouldn't you think about now they would start, you know what I mean, this summer? I don't see him doing that. It's all a ruse, people. It's all a ruse. It's all fake. It's all a charade. It's all smoke and mirrors. Because your votes don't count, folks. None of them ever count. None of them. It's all about the charisma. It's all about the message. It's all about, on the other end of that, how many people are going to beat up on a certain political, ideology spread out into the communication from some puppet that they put up in front of your face. In other words, they're going to use so many people. What they're doing is they're thinning out the field right now, folks, because the midterms are here, and you're looking at that in your local area. I'm going to say this. Let me retract what I said. And in your local area, in a way, not completely, but in a way, your votes do count locally. Nationally, like every 4 years, don't even think about it. They don't count. Okay? They don't count. Locally, here's how it works. You vote, the people, get in, whoever it is, whatever it is. They get in, city council, county board of supervisors, whatever. And then the bigwigs that run the region, because we're in a FEMA region Region 9 specifically here, which believe it or not, the control center, if you will, is in San Francisco, California. Yeah, I found that out. Yeah. I know more, but that's for a different show. When your local people get into office, the bigwigs come along and say, okay, here's how the game's going to get played. And here's exactly what you're going to do behind the scenes. Now, I say that because when Jesse Ventura was governor, he was called by the CIA or some other people in suits, taken down to the basement and told exactly how it was going to be. At least that's what he said. I know that for a fact. That's how it works, because former people have been interviewed over the years, and I saw this in other let's just say articles that I've read, where former cabinet members of Carter and Ford came out and said, who basically blew the whistle on what was going on behind the scenes, said that once that person is elected president and walks into the Oval Office and says, hey, they're home, a couple of people walk in suits and go, hey, how's it going? Congratulations. Here's what you're really going to do now. Yeah, we heard your campaign. We heard all that bull crap, but here's what you're going to do now. So that was then. Nowadays, it's all show, folks. It's all a charade. It's all facade. Why do you think Bill Clinton, George W. Bush, Barack Obama read off teleprompters? They write, these people behind the scenes write the script. They put them on the teleprompters. You read exactly what we write. Or let me remind you of one person, Kennedy. Yeah, I don't know if that's what they do, but, that's what happens behind the scenes. Nick Tucker, I hope, is still in the Spreaker chat, so I'm sure he's sitting there nodding his head going, yep, that's the way it is. How do I know this, folks? Because I do my homework. I've read things from Columbia University. I've read white papers from, Georgetown. I've read different documents from Yale and Harvard. Hello, over the past 2014? Yeah, about coming up on 35 years now. Yeah, that long, folks. So I know a whole lot more, as I said in the beginning of the show in the first hour, about Glenn Beck and Alex Jones. I know a whole lot more, but no one's tapping me or pulling on my leash. I'm going to tell you when, certain things come out. If it correlates with stuff that I've known over the years, I'm going to tell you about it. And I have been for the last 3 or 4 years of this show. But I got to tell you, behind the scenes, that's where you begin to see the anomalies in their armor. You begin to see it. And it's evident that they cannot keep this stuff covered up any longer. Why do you think in the last 6 months to a year, they've just been coming out and said, yes, here's what we're doing? Why do you think in the last 5 years ago, people were saying, oh, there's no Bilderberg group. What do you mean there's a shadow government? You're a conspiracy theorist. And now this year, part of and some of the state-run media is now allowing, because the state-run media is run by people who go to the Bilderberg meetings. State-run media is now showing you exactly what's going on because, and I'll give credit where credit is due, the alternative independent media has exposed it. Okay? They've exposed it. Now, again, I go back to that question of if you knew of or heard of a situation in your town where your city council and your county board of supervisors and some other leaders in your city, 120 to 150 of them, went to a secret location near your town and talked about how to run the county, this whole area that you live in, wouldn't you be just a slight bit curious? Wouldn't you be just a bit curious as to what they're doing? I'm just saying, that's something you have to answer yourself because, like I said, I can't throw you on the ground, twist your arm, make you believe it, but you have to really do your homework. It's interesting to me that people don't want to do that and absolutely, in some cases, refuse to do that. Well, that's to your own demise there, jackass. Okay, yeah, I call you names because, you're going to be, stupid. Stupid is as stupid does, thank you, Forrest Gump, but If you don't open your eyes and learn this stuff yourself, I mean, you can listen to 5, 10, 15 different people give you 15 or 20 different variations of the same thing. But if you yourself don't get up off of your butt and go out and start looking this stuff up yourself, you're never going to know. You're going to be speculating, oh, that person over there said this, and that person said this, and they're contradicting one another, blah, blah, blah. Well, shut your big damn cake hole and just go out and learn it. Just go out and figure it out yourself. You know? Go to your city council has, council meetings that are open to the public. Why not take the information you have that you hear here on Free America Radio Network, The Views Expressed Live, or Distorted Reality with Nick Tucker, or Kicking the Capstone with and Waking Up the Masses with Bob Brutus, or Live Truth Radio with Brian Lang? Why don't you take the information you hear, take it to your city council when it's open to the public, and take your 3 minutes and go, I've heard this, I want to know what the hell's going on. Are you guys involved with this? And if they are, they all need to be, thrown off of the council. And you need to hold your mayor accountable, because he's the head of the council, by the way. Did you know that? Now, if you cannot do that, what do? There's a lot of options. There's a lot of options that you have that's open to you. I decided that with all this information, I needed to get it out somewhere. At first, I was on blogtalkradio.com, which really, truly sucks, but, what can I say? The sound sucks on that place. It sounds like you're on AM radio. Nothing against AM radio. I'm just saying that's what it sounds like. So when I found Spreaker, I just dumped my Blog Talk Radio, came over here to Spreaker.com on this platform, and thought, you know what? I got all this information. I'm going to share it. And I've been doing this for the last 3 or 4 years on this particular platform. And I want to thank Mr. Bob Brutus for bringing me onto the Waking Up the Masses radio network and putting me out on 1610 AM in the Chickamauga, Georgia area. So thank you. Virtual high five to you. Facts are facts, folks. And if you know that your city is doing something against your freedoms and against the Constitution, whether it be your city police commissioner or your county sheriff, if they're not constitutional, you need to set them straight. You need to call them on the carpet. You need to make sure that the Constitution is in their hands prior to 1871, and you make them do it. You hold them accountable. And don't give me this crap that, we do the best we can. No, you don't. No, you don't. If you're not up in the face of your police commissioner or your mayor or your county sheriff down there near the Las Vegas in that county, you got Sheriff Gillespie, who was unconstitutional, according to P. Santilli, who called him and wanted to have the sheriff department investigate the BLM for having a backhoe and a dump truck out there. What's it for? And he wouldn't come out there at all. So he's bought and paid for by the New World Order. So, and they're still going on down there. As a matter of fact, there's people down there still there protecting the family, hanging out. But if you're not willing to get up in their faces and say, here's the Constitution prior to 1871, here this is, you're going to have to follow it. If not, I'm going to make sure that you no longer have a job in this county. And I'm going to make sure you no longer wear that badge. You're going to be handing out, tickets at the crosswalk for somebody jaywalking. I don't know what else to tell you, folks. I mean, I hope, and please let me know, I hope that I encourage you to go out and look this stuff up yourself. I really do. I really understand, and I've known this for quite some time, what's been going on behind the scenes. I've known for quite some time what's been happening. But I can tell you this much. Other than President Nixon resigning and quitting prior to his impeachment trials, and President Clinton getting away with what he got away with, he was impeached, but it never went to the House for final approval to go to trial. We've got a country that is going in the toilet, and we have a lot of people going, what's going, show me my reality show. What? I don't know, folks. I don't know. Is it so much effort for you, or too much effort for you to go out and check this stuff out yourself? I was out today. I took a walk around the park that's nearby my place here, where I broadcast from, and I'm walking around and I saw, guess what I saw? A military cargo plane flying into the Air National Guard facility here at the Reno International Airport. A cargo plane. These planes fly in and out all week. They've been going in and out. A couple of months ago, I saw 7 of them fly in. A week later, I saw 4 of them fly out. Folks, crap's hitting the fan. Do you want to get hit in the face with it? Because you will if you don't protect yourself. Well, they got bigger guns than we do. 3% of the colonists. 3% of the colonists in the New World, of what was called, the New World back then. 3% of the British colonists stood up and went, "We've had enough of this crap, King George." And they rallied the troops, quote unquote, together, and they beat back the British Army. Then they negotiated a few things here and there. Voila. The Declaration of Independence. 15 years later, December 15th, Constitution and Bill of Rights was ratified. Oh, I'm sure for a couple of years people were getting together going, agonizing over what had to be done, what could be protected, this, that, and the other thing. But no. It came down to people are free to do whatever they want. And we're going to protect that. We're going to protect their free speech, their freedom of expression, their freedom of worship, their freedom of carrying a gun, their freedom against unreasonable searches and seizures. Okay? Do we want to dishonor them now? Because I'm sure the person in the suit in 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue has done that for the last 5.5 years. Do we want it to continue? I don't think so. At least I know so. Let's put it that way. Nick Tucker from Distorted Reality with Nick Tucker on Facebook said, "There is so much corruption in city officials that are bought and paid for here, it'll make your head spin. Las Vegas is a toilet." He's right. You ever been to Las Vegas? Nice, glitzy entertainment capital of the world. Well, I think New York took that over, but nice. In the daytime, looks like crap. At night, glitz, glamour, lights, fashion, all of that. It's a facade, folks. The federal government is jerking you off, and not even giving you the pleasure of kissing you at the same time. Sorry for that. Yeah. This ain't Burger King. You ain't getting it your way. You have to go out and make it. Think about it this way, folks. This is a time for you. to be a part of history, to look back on your ancestors, on the people that fought and died and went broke for this country to be free. This is a time for you to look back and use them as an example to fight and stand for freedom. Stand up, speak out, get involved. Thank you, Brian Lang. That's exactly what we need to do. And if we're too damn lazy to do that, then you'll be wiping your feet off on a welcome mat at a FEMA camp near you. So you better get up off your ass and go do what you have to do right now. Yeah, I get a little pissed off, a little assertive, a little frustrated, but I'm passionate about what I believe. And that's something that we all should be, passionate. But we need to be calm. We need to understand civil disobedience. We need to get out there with the signs. We need to get out there and protest. Don't go out there and rip people up and turn cars over and blow things up. That's just stupid. We need to do what we have to do, and we need to do it today. We need to do it today. And remember this, folks. This is something that I say every day. Take it to heart. We the people have the power, for we are America!